Hello, everyone. In today's video, we'll address a very serious situation affecting Mozambique in recent days, the restriction of internet access during protests in the country. Imagine losing your right to communicate, express your opinions, or even access vital information. This has been happening more frequently in Mozambique, and today we'll dive into what's behind this, how it's impacting the population, and what it means for the country's future. Stay with us, because this is a topic that could change the way you view digital rights worldwide. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you think these issues should be discussed. To understand what's happening, we need to go back a bit. Since October 9, Mozambique has been facing a serious crisis related to freedom of expression and internet access. During the protests that have swept the country, the government decided to restrict access to social media and the internet. In some areas, like Maputo, many citizens were without access for up to 3 days, not just to social media, but to vital information circulating online. What's behind this? The government seems to want to prevent any information about the protests or the situation in the country from leaking to the outside world. And this has been a huge challenge for those fighting for transparency and an open government. With the internet blocked, many people, especially young people who rely on social media to inform themselves and express themselves, are left voiceless. Now, it's important to understand how this is impacting the population. Without internet access, many Mozambicans are unable to keep up with what's happening in the country or communicate with the outside world. Social media has become a crucial space for documenting what's happening on the streets, especially during protests, and for exposing human rights violations. Without the internet, how can people know the truth? How can they organize to protest or even fight for their rights? Traditional media, like television, no longer holds the same credibility. The information that's broadcasted on TV is often censored or distorted, which is why social media has become an essential channel for truth to reach the people. And that's exactly what worries the government. By blocking the internet, they try to silence the voices that are exposing abuses, like police repression during the protests. Unfortunately, this strategy has been effective in suppressing the truth, making human rights violations go unnoticed by much of the population. The internet restriction in Mozambique is a reflection of the growing control of the government over fundamental freedoms. This is not just a violation of digital rights, but also a direct attack on freedom of expression and democracy. If this practice continues, Mozambique could become an increasingly isolated country where the population has no access to free information and where dissenting voices are silenced. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Civil society in Mozambique is reacting to this situation. Organizations and citizens are mobilizing to pressure the government to reverse this restriction. Vodacom, one of the major telecom operators, has been targeted by illegal action from civil society due to the internet cuts. This shows that, even in the face of so much repression, the fight for justice and a freer Mozambique is still ongoing. And here's the big question: how can you help? By sharing this information. It's crucial that the world knows what's happening in Mozambique because the internet is more than just a communication tool. It's the key to freedom of expression, access to information, and the defense of human rights. We must continue to pressure the authorities to respect the rights of Mozambican citizens and put an end to internet censorship.